Hello again, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Frank Bosi. I'm the Senior Director of Business Development here at Hostfully. And today I am joined with Kelly, who is our business development representative. Behind the scenes, answering questions and helping out is Mitch Foster, who's our Manager of Partnerships and Integrations. And last but certainly not least, today we are joined by Andrew Kitchell, who is the CEO and founder of Wheelhouse. So Andrew, we're really excited to have you on sharing your knowledge and your insight, especially in the dynamic pricing world on today's webinar. And just as an FYI to the audience, Wheelhouse is one of our most popular and used integrations in assisting with dynamic pricing and just ultimately increasing your revenue. So Wheelhouse are great partners, integrations, but also friends. So we're really excited for today's webinar. We're going to be really learning mostly how to make your business work harder, smarter, and more effectively. So using nothing more than what you've already have, which is your performance metrics. So today we're going to focus on setting your budget, tracking performance, year-over-year listing performance, and tracking that as well. What was the other one? Oh, optimizing pricing strategy, but also understanding key performance metrics. So before we jump into all that fun stuff, I just want to let you know a little bit more about Hostfully. So for those who are not familiar, we are a vacation rental property management software that helps you run your business from tip to tail. We're essentially, what we do is we strive to help vacation rental companies and property managers make more money, increase revenue, and streamline and automate your day-to-day operations while also improving the overall traveler experience. Hostfully has two platforms. These are both completely standalone platforms. You have the property management platform, and then you have the digital guidebook. These are both fully integrated, so you're of course more than welcome to use both of them together, but you also have the option to use just the property management software or just the digital guidebook. On the property management platform side, we have direct integrations with major OTAs, Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, and a bunch of other channels aside from your direct booking channel, which is included. So Hostfully will become your central software and hub in managing all those reservations. We have a great pipeline feature, which is unique to the industry as well. And here you can see all of your guests and exactly where they are in the process of their booking. And you could also basically manage your operations in different ways than you can in other softwares. And as mentioned, we have a really nice out-of-the-box direct booking website that's included in all of our packages. Also included in our software, you get automated messages, both email, text message, WhatsApp. You have reports, analytics, payment processors. We have a wonderful new unified inbox with Airbnb, Vrbo, and Booking.com. A mobile app. We really have a lot of fun stuff going on this year. And then we have the standalone digital guidebook platform. This is really unique and beautiful platform where we focus on enhancing the guest experience. That's what we're ultimately want to do. We make it easy to share important information with your guest about their trip, their check-in details, directions, house manual information, and then all your favorite recommendations, restaurants, attractions. And again, this really aims in boosting the guest experience. It cuts down on communication, but it also has the ability to get you more 5-star reviews. So as I mentioned, you have the property management software, and this one, we've been winning a ton of awards. We're super excited. It's been great. We won the Matt Landau's VRMB Keystone Award the first year that they had it. And that one, I believe it was the best vacation rental software. And then we won again the year after that as the best property management software to grow with, specifically making us back-to-back winners for that. Just recently, we won the Shorty's 2022 award as the best property management software, and we were nominated once again for the Shorty's 2023 award for the best property management software. And as you can see here, one of the main evaluators, Terry White, said that Hostfully is one of the best softwares, period, I've ever seen. And then we have the guidebooks, which are very near and dear to our hearts. Erica is a client of ours. She said the same thing as many of our other clients have said. And here she states that the guidebook totally blew her away. We saved her a ton of time, but also the guidebook is more professional than a Word document or a PDF you would leave on the coffee table. So if you haven't tested our guidebooks yet, we have free trial for all guidebook subscriptions. And also we have one free guidebook for everyone that wants to kick the tires and test it out. In regard to reports and webinars, you can find us online. We have an incredible platform and beautiful digital guidebooks, but we also have great learning opportunities and resources with our reports and webinars. We have a variety of resources and reports available on our website, which I encourage you all to go check out at your leisure. And we really do have a ton to offer you there, along with blog posts, case studies, articles. We have now something called Hostfully University, where we have a topic and people on our team just really deep dive and talk about a certain topic. If you want any additional information on any of our products, the guidebook, the property management software, if you just want to learn more about the industry, please feel free to reach out to me or Kelly directly. We're always happy to coordinate and schedule a one-on-one demo with you. But that's enough about Hostfully. I'm sure y'all are really here to learn more about Wheelhouse and that sweet surprise we have for all of you attendees out there. I'll leave that news to Mr. Kitchell over here. So without further ado, Andrew, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and hand this off to you.
Ready to rock. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for giving me my 5 minutes of fame there, Andrew. Now take it away.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Tough act to follow. I mean, you all have won so many awards. Very impressive. Excited to share more today. So we're going to make this a pretty interactive session now. Yeah, we're going to learn more about Wheelhouse, but we're going to learn more about metrics that can help your business kind of regardless. And we're going to ultimately loop around to the gift from Wheelhouse, which should be pretty fun. So can everyone see my screen? I just pushed play. Are you able to see the Frank and Kelly, are you seeing the one screen or do you see two screens right now?
I see Metrics Masterclass and a gift from Wheelhouse.
Okay, cool. And the link, the wording just flow in? Okay. Yeah. Cool. I think we're seeing the same thing. I won't be able to see you all for the next few minutes, but I will move quickly through a few slides. So now you should be able to see a slide that says the backstory, and there's a photo of none other than David Jacoby. Is that right?
That's right.
Cool. Yes. So we are going to give all Hostfully customers a present today, and a little bit of the chase. You're going to get to use a major part of Wheelhouse for free if you're a Hostfully customer. And the reason we're doing this is Hostfully customers, David really went to bat for you. He came to me maybe about a year ago, 6 months ago, and over a series of walks started saying, hey, what can you build for our customers that we can bring them to help them run their businesses better? So we actually think of this gift today, which is access to a big piece of Wheelhouse for free, as step one of bringing Hostfully customers some pretty unique aspects of Wheelhouse just for being Hostfully customers. So David, don't know if you're with us right now, but appreciate you doing a solid and putting a pretty fun idea together for us. So today we're going to do a quick intro to Wheelhouse. We're then going to do a product live drive. Kelly and Frank are going to grill us while we're doing that. They're going to push us on the value we're creating, how to use the various things we're going to see. And then the gift is obviously tied to what we're going to share today. And it'll be ready to go as soon as we're done with this presentation. Right? You'll be able to use it immediately. So first, about Wheelhouse, our mission is to help hospitality teams build enduring businesses. The way we do that is by building we build a revenue management platform. And our revenue management platform has 4 main products. We have, and are probably best known for, our dynamic pricing product. We have competitive set or benchmarking tools. We have market reports, so the ability to see everything that's happening in a market across a lot of different OTAs, et cetera. And then we have a booking insights tool, which is very helpful for understanding where your business is and how you're doing. Other key investments from Wheelhouse, we have really rapid customer support. I think we're probably neck and neck with Hostfully in this category, but for the last 2 weeks, we've actually had an average response time to customers of less than 60 seconds. And that's 24/7 live chat. And that's not just responding saying, we hear you, it's actually sending you an answer to your question. So we overinvest in making sure we are here to help you at all times. You can test us out at any point on this claim, but we have a great CS team. Super proud of that. And then we do invest a lot in data science, and we have a lot of depth around it. And I'm sharing this even knowing that a number of folks on Hostfully and maybe on this call and other folks might not yet fully trust data-driven pricing. And we understand that. We're going to show today, when we're talking about metrics, we're going to show how you can use metrics to drive your pricing strategy without even using deep data-rich pricing. You can do whatever you please on Wheelhouse now. So that's kind of fun. Today, we serve 4,000 businesses in more than 100 countries. We are available worldwide. We work with people with a single listing. We work with people with thousands of listings. We work with people who just sell short-term rentals. We work with people who do mid-length. We do work with people who do both. We work with resorts, and we work with boutique hotels. So pretty broad platform. And these folks are all building their strategy on top of Wheelhouse. Now, let's see. For some reason, oh, I see. There's typing out a few words on the bottom. I apologize for that.
No, I see a lot of familiar customers that we share. So
yeah, a lot of great folks who I think, sometimes I think Wheelhouse historically was known as a pricing tool. We actually think of ourselves as a financial partner, your financial partner. So we put those flags up there a little bit so you can go validate us with any of those teams and see whether we take care of your business. But we deeply respect the kind of risk/obligation that we have to deliver for you in driving your business forward. Some quick hits from folks who have used us. The Brett Robinson team, 1,600 listings, so large portfolio. They found, they did a lot of diligence, found our platform to work for their needs. Andreas, CEO of Romy, you might know this team too, but really proud to work with people building pretty advanced strategies. Obviously these simple strategies as well. But really the way to think about it is all those people we just saw, they're really leveraging Wheelhouse as a revenue management platform. Oh, this is hilarious. I am so sorry. Some of these animations, I did not realize we're going to play so slowly. So you're probably slowly seeing this slide coming together. But really, when you think about what those folks are doing on Wheelhouse, yes, we have automated pricing, but a lot more of them are using the metrics we're going to see to design and execute their own strategy. Right? So automated pricing, you're going to trust a system like ours to help you price better. And certainly systems like that will do that. But again, most people who work with us are building and executing their strategy. And today we're going to show more about how that works. So today, moving into the metrics mastery. You might be wondering, why do metrics matter if you're using data-driven pricing? But again, to refresh what we just covered, we're saying that there's pricing tools, but the revenue management platform is really what we're trying to impact together today. I took it off the full screen share just because I didn't want that slide to animate again. I'm going to zoom in a little bit.
Smart thinking. I like the anticipation of what's coming.
Well, it would be great, right, if it didn't do it twice, maybe, and a little faster. Got to check that timing. So anyway, without further ado, we're going to take a look at some of those metrics and how you can leverage them. In this section, we're going to dive into the Wheelhouse tool, and we're going to start on the Wheelhouse portfolio, where you're going to be able to see a lot of metrics. We'll show how to use them and how to filter by them. Then we're going to go over to the booking tool and really look at pacing and pickup, and even show a very easy way to start doing some A/B testing. That might sound tough. It's actually incredibly easy, but these are ways, in particular, again, for people who don't yet fully trust data-driven pricing, maybe you can run your own tester strategies or just leverage your own insights on your portfolio to make adjustments. That would be great. And again, everything we see today is actually going to be available for free to Wheelhouse or to Hostfully customers. So I need to stop sharing this screen and switch over to my actual account. So how do let's see. So I want to go share here, and I want to share this screen. I want to go to this window, and we're going to share. And just really quickly, for those who don't know Wheelhouse, you can come learn a little bit more about our platform here. We do publish all of our research on the pricing engine, but again, that's not really what we're talking about today. Today, we want to talk about metrics. Okay. So The view we're seeing right now, I'm on the Wheelhouse portfolio view and I'm on the calendar view. So what we're seeing here are a series of listings. In this case, I have 50 listings, but you could have a couple listings here. And I have some tags and some metrics that we're going to dive into in a second. And then what I'm looking at is I'm looking at pricing for every single day, looking into the future. In this particular view, I have turned on demand. So this is kind of known as a tape chart in the industry. And you can turn on demand to see how high or low demand is for every single day in the future. But that's what we're looking at first, right? Now, we're here to talk about metrics. So let's imagine you weren't yet using data-driven pricing and you were just running your own pricing strategy. For a lot of folks who are doing that, a really important thing to keep an eye on, usually every Monday you want to check on this, or more frequently, folks want to come in and see, when was my property last booked, right? So on this Wheelhouse dashboard view, what you're able to do is, in this case, I'll just show you can, in this case, I'm going to hide this metric for a second, but if I wanted to go add it in as a fully customizable view, where you're able to figure out and use whichever metrics you want to understand the performance of your portfolio. So what I would see here is I would see these properties have booked recently. Let's filter, let's kind of change this sort. And what you'll see now is we go to a manual sort, and now we'll go to, I'm going to sort it again. And now I'm going to see which properties haven't booked recently. What might I do with that information? I might want to grab all the properties that haven't booked in the last number of days and make a quick adjustment. So I would take my prices and drop those prices. Or maybe you go into Hostfully and start to adjust prices. But it's a very easy place to see what inventory isn't booking. Now let's explore these other columns. Right now, what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at my adjusted occupancy and my adjusted nightly rate for the next 30 days. But let's say you were doing a slightly different strategy and you wanted to click in and see adjusted occupancy over the next 6 months. Super easy to add that column. Of course, you can sort by this as well. And this is yet another way for you to view performance of your portfolio. In this case, I might have discovered that my occupancy is a little lower than I'm comfortable with for these listings. Probably quickly want to go adjust the pricing strategy, right? Because you're fully in control of the pricing strategy still here. As you can see here, there really are almost infinite metrics. Frank or Kelly, are there any? So we've got, let's just look at a few of them. One of them, highest price. This is just going to show you the highest price you've achieved in the last 365 days. So maybe an owner has asked you a question, hey, what's the top price? Or maybe you want to see, you're thinking about your pricing strategy. You want to know what's the best price you booked at. Very easy to see that. This is a pretty interesting one as well. This is going to show the number of nights booked that have booked in the last 30 days, or in this case, we just said in the last week, how many nights have booked at each property. So for us, we're able to quickly see, and you'll see sometimes there will be more than the number of days, of course, because you've actually sold 11 nights in the last week. It's a way for you to see kind of the pacing on your own individual listing level. Oops, there's a number of other metrics as well. So we have nightly RevPAR. This is a way for you to see, RevPAR stands for revenue per available room. And really is a metric that aggregates both your occupancy level as well as what you're selling each night for, right? So if you're 50% occupied and your nights have sold for an average of $200, your RevPAR would be 100.
I actually meant to say something earlier, but I was on mute.
Fire away, yeah.
I love all the options, and you can get really granular with what you're able to kind of dig into. For those, like, is there a limitation, or are there, what if you live in like an area or a certain area that you can't really get that much data from, or doesn't have or provide that much data?
Yeah, it's great. So and there was someone asked that question earlier. So you're saying like, well, these would be all your listings, Frank. So you'd be seeing your own performance here on a listing. If you wanted to go explore your market and see how the market's doing, or explore your comp set, you can actually do that as well. And even actually with the freemium product that we're bringing into your customers, if folks wanted to come in and see their pricing strategy against a competitive set, Wheelhouse will actually auto-generate a competitive set where you could actually see their pricing strategy versus yours. Now, to the question of like, I think the customer question that I saw quickly was around the customer was in kind of a rural market and they were curious about data density. Is that a fair?
Yeah.
Frank, was that what you're
saying? They're located in a rather remote area and they've had issues with pricing software and data metrics due to that. Can you explain at a granular level, how can Wheelhouse help us and where the data is gathered from?
Totally. So it's a really good question. And we I sometimes say that Wheelhouse actually built dynamic pricing backwards, and that we started by building a data-driven pricing engine and more recently launched a fully rule-based pricing engine. Because even though I will tout how great we are at data science, the truth is some people, A, don't trust the system. That's fine. B, they might have a market where the data density is low, which is harder to price. So they therefore might want to have control over their whole pricing strategy. And this, what I'm trying to illustrate here is actually, that's a great use case. We have plenty of people now on Wheelhouse who don't activate data-driven pricing. They build rule-based pricing and they leverage all the metrics we're looking at to actually fine-tune their strategy based on their performance. So I like to say there's one right way to price a home, but you only know that after the entire market is cleared. Data-driven pricing systems like Wheelhouse, we're guessing what you can sell your individual property for, and that's a hard problem. So there's one right way to price a home. However, there are many rational ways to price your home. So for example, you might want to price your home just based on how you priced last year. So Wheelhouse now is an interface to make that really easy to see what is your pricing last year and what are you doing this year? In this case, this will be a funny example because it's a fake listing. Probably not the best example there. So you can see your pricing last year. You'll see where you booked at. You'll see how you're priced against where you booked last year. So that's a very rational interface. And some people might say, I don't want data-driven pricing, but I do want to see my competitive set and I want to adjust my prices around that. Totally rational way to price, right? So other folks might see, and this is what we're looking at a little bit today, they might look at some of these metrics and be like, you know, if I haven't booked this property in a month, I should probably go adjust that pricing strategy. You're not using data-driven pricing. You're just using data to inform your pricing. It's a pretty big fundamental shift. So to the question of, for someone in a remote market, you might not yet trust pricing systems. They might not yet work perfectly for you. More importantly, they might not work for the strategy you're trying to achieve. Right?
Andrew, would you say that's also true? Ken had mentioned, you know, that they have a unique luxury property as well. And I hear that a lot from, you know, people that come to Hostfully about our product as well, that they're not sure, you know, with a larger villa, some of those, how those comparables work also for those properties.
Totally. So the bluntly put, the more unique the property, the harder it is to price perfectly. And that's not to discredit what dynamic pricing systems, including the Wheelhouse pricing engine, does. Like, we know it works. Does it work 100% for everyone? No. Is it always trying to get better? Yes. And do we show you all the data we have? You still need to fine tune your strategy though. So I would say an interesting way for someone with luxury properties, what we see folks doing there, and this is kind of all building towards the metric stuff we're going to explore today. But let's say you had 10 properties and really 3 of them were luxury properties. Okay. So what some folks will do, we'll do 4, and we're going to go in and we're going to tag all these properties as luxury at once, right? So I'm going to click out and it's going to reload and it's going to have added luxury tag. And now what folks will do, so say you had a bunch of different tags. As you can see, I've actually added a lot of different tags here that we're going to make sense of later. These are all user generated, so you can set whatever you want. But I can now come filter by a tag. In this case, I just want to come in and look at my luxury properties. And now maybe there's a faster way again to slice and dice that inventory set. In this case, I just grabbed the top 4 listings by the sort. So none of these have booked in the last month. I would want to go adjust that pricing strategy. So We see folks who have the ability to do more manual control. They're using Wheelhouse almost like an organizational platform where they're tagging their properties, they're seeing their performance, and they're making adjustments as they see fit. So some other metrics we see people leveraging on this side. I actually really like, and we are, for any folks on this call, we're wildly open to any metrics that you want here. We've added kind of every month, we've added a new set of metrics, but nightly revenue, occupancy, blocked nights is actually a really interesting one. This is, let's say you're a property manager and you might want to have a conversation with an owner based on, hey, you see on the Wheelhouse demand chart that demand's really high, but most of the nights are blocked. This is a metric that allows you to hone in on what inventory. My listings are all fake. They're not going to have blockings on them. It would allow you to say, oh, 10 of the next 30 days are blocked. Let me sort by that. And let me go have a conversation with that owner to open up those nights because they're of really high demand. So there's a lot of ways people are using these metrics to kind of drive their business however they please. It's a different promise than what people have thought of about Wheelhouse in the past, where it's truly about, where it's data-driven pricing. This is about revenue management. This is you coming in, building your strategy, setting this dashboard up, and you can save, I can save this, whatever set I want myself or my teammates to look at, I can save, and this will be the default I return to. But we're giving you the ability, hopefully, to understand performance very quickly and make cuts to it. Okay? Now, we're gonna come back to this page in a second. I think my takeaway from this page would be there are about 100 metrics you can already see here. Whichever is important, you can add and easily sort and filter by it. So I could even actually come in here and I could, without adding a column, I could just say, hey, I want to see all the properties from 0 to 50% booked in the next 30 days. And I want to go take action on all those. So you can actually look at the performance of each individual listing, and I'm now if we sort, we'll see this. So it'll cap out at 48 because we said it, show me everything below 50% in the next 30 days. So hopefully a lot of ways to set up your portfolio so you can slice and dice and do pretty precise adjustments. Okay. Now, this is where it gets really fun. Now we're clicking over to the bookings page, and not to bury the lead, but this is now free for Hostfully customers. As was that entire interface we saw, you can use for free too. You still have to pay if you automate pricing on Wheelhouse. Sorry. But you're going to get access to basically all the tools you would need if you wanted to build a very advanced revenue management strategy, right? So let's talk about what we're looking at here. So I only had 46 out of 50 active listings. So you'll see I have 46 listings. And right now I'm seeing the revenue. So I'm looking at total revenue from July 1st until the end of next year. So July, August, I'm looking ahead. And what I'm looking at is, you can call it sales analysis or really your pickup chart. And let's say I wanted to zoom in and I really want to see, I'm going to hide this budget line for a second. But what I'm seeing here is how many bookings have I had, do I have on a particular week? And how much inventory have I sold in the last 14 nights? So I might want to just isolate and say, where's my portfolio booking? Maybe I just want to look at the last week or the last 3 nights. What you can do again with this is you might say, we really should be booking September 3rd and September 10th. So maybe your pricing strategy is pretty good for October, November, because we're actually getting some good pickup there. But we better go adjust and fine tune our pricing for September 3rd and September 10th. You can zoom in on a daily level. Let's zoom back out to the monthly and let's add all the totals back in, right? So let's say I wanted to look at where was I same time last year. You can see your year-over-year pricing. Again, there's a fake listing that you can tell when I create all my listings that I don't have bookings from last year, but you'd be able to see your performance this year and last year. And we're going to do a little more site orientation or page orientation. There's actually so much you can do here. This is a slightly different view showing your pacing. So it just shows, this is kind of your aggregated, how much do you have for each month, right? This is showing how is your general pickup for a month or pacing for a month been. So we're saying, look at July, look at August, look at September. You can kind of guess where you might end up. And soon we'll actually forecast for you where you're projected to end up on this page. Okay. Now, we can look at total revenue. A lot of revenue managers, I'm going to remove the same time last year. So other views, you can just see how many book nights you're getting. So maybe revenue isn't necessarily, revenue is going to be, if you had a really expensive property and that had booked, that might kind of distract you from, well, how quickly are places actually booking? So book nights is another way you might want to look at. You might just want to see adjusted occupancy to get a sense quickly of how much inventory you still have available. And if and when you discover trends that you don't like, remember you can toggle quickly back to that portfolio page. And in this case, I might say, hey, there's no occupancy pickup for September 10th. If you were a Wheelhouse customer, what folks do is they'd grab their properties and they'd say, hey, let's just really bluntly go lower the prices for these weeks. Just drop the price 10%. Real quick fix, and then you'll get into more fine-grained strategies later. So that's how you would apply those learnings on Wheelhouse. You can obviously do the same on Hostfully. Okay, so remember how we had all those tags on the portfolio view, right? So we'll just toggle back here for a second. We'll expand these. You can add infinite number of tags, but here we have things like 30-day listing. We have last-minute discounting, so a strategy that someone has built. We have a minimum stay. So in this case, someone's looking at a minimum stay. Minimum stay 5 versus minimum stay 2. We have a bunch of other tags here. We just added luxury together. We added group A and group B. So let's see how we can use those. So first, let's just say that we wanted to filter by, we had looked at our whole portfolio. And we actually just wanted to understand at a market level, we just wanted to see how Houston was performing. Very easy to slice and dice and come into the Houston market. You want to look at Hickory as opposed to Houston. Great. One-click change. I clearly don't have any fake listings there. I don't know if I have any Boulder 2. Bellingham. And let's add, where do I have some properties? San Francisco.
Good old Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. So easy to slice and dice. And you might also want to come in and say, okay, well, how's a particular bedroom? I just want to see how my 2 bedrooms are booking, right? Easy to slice and dice as well. You can even look at multiple metrics at the same time. You might also just want to come in and see how that tags doing. So in this case, let's just see how our luxury properties are performing. Now, we didn't see any booking activity on the portfolio view in the last 30 days, so that's reflected here as well. So easy to slice and dice to cut to any aspect of your portfolio, and all these charts will be showing the same thing. You can also see pacing year over year as well. And Hostfully folks, every single thing we've seen so far and everything else we're going to see today is exportable. All your data is your data. You can export it as an image. So maybe you want to show an owner, or maybe you want to show your team, like, hey, our luxury properties aren't performing very well. Let's go adjust the strategy here. Maybe you drop it into Slack or whatever your comms channel. Maybe you text someone. Maybe you just download it as a CSV and you want to go unpack the data. You're totally welcome to do that. You're in control.
Yeah, you can overlay things. Nice touch also. And then, Andrew, I'm sorry, I just had a quick question in terms of the intel that you have.
Yeah.
Let's say I was using a dynamic pricing tool last year, not Wheelhouse. And this year I am using Wheelhouse. Does all that information carry over? Kind of how does that work in terms of being new to Wheelhouse?
Yeah, we would pull in. So say you linked Hostfully to us, we would see all the data that Hostfully sees. So your year over year comparisons would actually already be perfect. Now, there is, let's say your inventory count changed from 10 to 20 listings. You're obviously going to have to do a little more slice and dicing. That's like a case where you might want to go tag 10 of your properties as like old properties, and then you'd come filter by old properties, and then you could do that year over year comparison. So that's where you might want to apply some tagging to truly understand how performance has changed on listings that have stayed with you. But yeah, we would see all your data. Right now, we just show you year over year. We'll soon show you as far back as you want. But yeah, that would be part of the data ingestion would be tied to that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Now, I know we're at 40 after, but here is my favorite feature. So if you're not using dynamic pricing, and honestly, even if you are using dynamic pricing, I would really recommend that you start thinking about ways you can run simple A/B comparisons or A/B tests in your portfolio. Okay, so let's say that you wanted to, for some properties, you decided not to drop prices as a stated approach. And for others, you decided to drop the prices to try to capture bookings. And let's say you just wanted to figure out, okay, well, how is that going? Does that give me more revenue? So what you can do with these tags is, in this case, I actually want to apply different settings to different listings here. But here I'm able to see quickly, well, what actually ends up making more money. You can run an A/B test to fine tune or adjust your strategy at any point. If you're a property manager now, you're able to go to them and say, we're running say you wanted to acquire customers. Like, hey, we ran some A/B tests last year and we really learned the right last minute discounting strategy or the right minimum stay strategy. So let's say I wanted to go compare. I don't want to see this. I want to see how much revenue do I make on properties with a 2-night minimum stay versus properties with a 5-night minimum stay. Again, super easy to compare. And you'll be able to see how has it changed, and you'll be able to see the total revenue on the books, and you'll be able to export that data and go analyze it any way you please. So what we actually could have just done is, with that tagging system, you can basically build and run an A/B test in about a minute. Obviously, you might want to change a strategy and then watch it going forward. But you could come in and, you could tag by new owners versus the rest of your portfolio and figure out how do you want to, when you have a new owner, how do you want to ramp their properties to maximum? And you might do new owner strategy A and new owner strategy B. And actually, it might sound like a lot of work, but it's actually very good insight for your business of how can you maximize your market? And even if people are doing data-driven pricing, well, we still don't control your minimum stay policy. That's an operational decision, right? Wheelhouse as well gives you the ability for any properties to come in. We're going to go to a slightly different view, and then I'm going to pause in just a second here. But on Wheelhouse, just like you can control your minimum stay, you can actually come in and set occupancy pacing. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom in on I'm going to filter by a tag, and I want to give you a good example of this. We're going to go look at properties that have a built-out occupancy pacing table. And what this allows you to do is you can just say, based on your lead time, so I've 30 days out, and based on your occupancy, you can adjust your pricing strategy. Now, that is a strategic decision. So we believe that a pricing engine has to work within the parameters of your business. The reason I would recommend practicing the art of revenue management in your business is a pricing engine without insight into what your risk level is and to how you want to adjust pricing as bookings come in, without understanding your operations. So maybe you don't want to book last minute. Maybe you don't want to take short bookings. Maybe you don't want to fill gaps. Whatever you do, whatever your strategy is, our pricing engine should adapt to the confines of the best strategy for you. So all these tools, and I can now go look, you probably can figure this out already, but I can go obviously compare 2 different occupancy pacing strategies. So I might come in, and in this case, I just have one, but I could have had occupancy pacing chart 1 and occupancy pacing chart 2. Now, this all might look pretty advanced. I promise you, within using this for a short amount of time, it'll be very intuitive and very powerful, and allow you not only to have different conversations with your teammates. I'm going to cancel the comparison for you for a second. It's going to allow you to have different conversations with owners. Imagine going to an owner who is at risk of churn and saying, okay, you're not happy with some aspect, maybe the pricing strategy that we employed. Let's work together. What strategy do you want to test? And we'll run a test against the market and we'll see how you do. Or an owner is insisting you have a 7-day minimum stay policy. Well, now you can come in and show them how properties with 2-night minimum stays perform revenue-wise versus 7. So it allows you to have a new level of dialogue with owners. Now, the last thing we'll have to teach over probably, first of all, today is obviously a high-level quick pass. We talked about filtering to see any set of inventory. We talked about comparisons, the easiest way I know of to set up an A/B test or analyze anything. We've talked a little bit about exporting imagery to use in conversations with owners. There are a bunch of other metrics, overlays, etc. that you can see here. You can actually go pull apart every single booking to analyze that, and you can group your bookings in a bunch of different ways to, again, get more insights. And the last thing I'll share is you'll see this line here, this kind of gray line going across the page. That's your budget. Now, you might be wondering, you might not have a budget. You might have a budget for the year. But where that budget is deriving from is Wheelhouse now enables you, and this is just live as of last week, enables you to come in and build budgets or add budgets for all of your listings. And again, if we're looking at not doing data-driven pricing, data-driven dynamic pricing, but using data to inform your pricing strategy, you might want to come in and build out your budget. And then what I can see is like, well, look, I'm actually, for August, I'm already ahead of budget. Do I want to change my pricing strategy? And if I filter by a particular inventory type or an owner name, now I can see how they're pacing to budget. So you can be way ahead of owner conversation. So Frank and Kelly, I probably threw a little too much at us. Hopefully not all. This is actually until we get a little excited about all this stuff. But I guess in summary, everything we saw today is available. If you're a Hostfully customer, link your Hostfully account and you will get access to everything we've seen. And you can use it for a variety of ways to drive your business, whether it's near-term revenue performance, whether it's A/B tests to find out how to fine-tune your strategy, whether it's a new type of owner conversation, whether it's just sleeping well at night, knowing how you're pacing the budget, right? Because this budget will even cut down to the weekly level. We'll see how we're doing on a weekly basis. Hopefully, this just gives you a little more comfort to execute the strategy that you want. So I hope today has reframed Wheelhouse a little bit in terms of being a data-driven pricing tool versus hopefully just a tool to drive your business better. And with that, Frank, over to you.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of information, but it's exciting information. It's you're giving everyone, or you're showing everyone the opportunity that's there for them. And knowing that this tool is included with Hostfully, even though you're not a Wheelhouse user, or this is going to drive you to become a Wheelhouse user. Albeit a ton of information, it's exciting to know that you can, like you said, kind of get a system in place, know where you are, budget to forecast, know, do you have to lower your rate or can you increase your rate because you are doing so well? So there's a lot of opportunity here. And I know, especially with Wheelhouse, your customer service, your quick response time, if there is a question or clarity that a user needs based on experience, they're there to answer it within, and I don't want to sell it incorrectly, but within a relatively quick time. So
let's
you have the guidance. Oh, this is
just
a new
test.
one. I haven't encountered this on a webinar yet.
Ignore this stuff because this is bots, right? So this is not what I'm responding, this is not what I'm saying when I respond, but we'll just watch it. We'll just watch it and see what happens. So if any customer has a question, we can also ask our team, and I promise we didn't set this up. I promise I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no.
And I don't know
it works. I mean, come on.
Be embarrassed in a minute, but who knows? But let's do this. It looks like we have a few questions that came in. Should we get to some questions as we wait to see if Wheelhouse truly responds quickly?
Yeah, this is way cool, Andrew.
Fingers crossed.
So I just want to make sure that we got, full answers to some of the questions that we received today. I think we've covered most of them. Elizabeth, can you give an example or two of a pricing strategy beyond the goal of maximizing revenue? I think you did cover that.
Totally. Yeah. So, right. So if you run your own properties, your strategy is almost always going to be to maximize revenue. But let's say you had a mortgage on a property. You might say, hey, I really need to make $2,000 in a month. And once I get $2,000, I'm going to take more risk. So that's an example where you're actually thinking about your risk profile in addition to maximizing revenue, right? Or you might say, You might say, hey, if you're in rural Vermont, let's say, you might say something like, well, I really can't guarantee a cleaner can get to a place for a property that's booked 3 days before, 7 days before. So my calendar is actually blocked 3 to 7 days out. In which case you'd probably, I would say that's an operational consideration that you need to think about. Or let's say you said, I value a 30-day booking more than a lot of short-term stays. So you would set a strategy around minimum price where you really, or minimum stay, sorry, where you would really try to get a 30-day booking until maybe 30 days before you'd shrink that minimum stay window. So I always think that really what you owners are running, this is a little bit nerdy, but you all are running a utility function. And that utility function includes your operational capabilities, your risk profile, and your pricing strategy. And again, I think the clearest one is most people's strategy changes over time as they get bookings within a month. It could be within any time frame, but that's an example of why you wouldn't just revenue maximize. You might maximize for a slightly different outcome that protected your bottom or protected your downside. There's actually a lot, many, many more examples. So like if you did manage properties on behalf of others, most people are really looking also at owner retention or owner acquisition. And I hear from a lot of those property managers that the risk of an unbooked weekend during high season is always going to make an owner upset. Is always, so they're like, hey, we'll take a little less money to know we can drive occupancy during those high demand days. So again, there's a lot of unique ways to run your business. I think Wheelhouse used to be as a pricing engine, we were more prescriptive. Today, as a revenue management platform, which we really evolved into kind of 9 months ago, we really just see our jobs as empowering you to build whatever business strategy you want. And like as a complete signal of that, we allow you to use totally rule-based pricing, use totally data-driven pricing, or you can use we launched something called hybrid pricing last year that allows people to use like a little bit of data-driven pricing. So like we are agnostic to the strategy you build. We try to build tools to make it easy to create, evaluate, and edit your strategy.
That's awesome. There's also, in terms of filtering, in like with the nightly rates and the minimum length of stay, you could also filter through amenities.
Yeah.
And see like what your comp set has.
You'd want to tag by amenity, so that would probably be a tag at this point. We can do like bedroom, bathroom, room type, market. But you'd want to what you'd probably do in that case is tag like all your places with a pool, and we would help you set that up. Or if you were onboarding with us, we'd build that out, that tagging library out for you. You could do whatever you wanted there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's probably how you would do that. Frank, was that related at all to I see a competitive set question that came in. Was that at all related to that?
Yes, it was Melissa's question.
Okay, cool. And let me, so Melissa, what makes a competitive set? Is it just bedrooms and baths? So Wheelhouse allows folks to build their own competitive sets. So you, Melissa, you could come in and actually look at a map and see all the competitors near you and filter by bedrooms if you wanted to, filter by bath count, filter by both, filter by performance, and then add those folks to a competitive set. In addition, Wheelhouse will auto-generate a competitive set for you. So in that case, we'll be looking at attributes, but we'll also be looking at, it's kind of a mix of the attributes, so bedrooms, bath, porch, pool, patio, Wi-Fi, how close someone is, and then actually at booking patterns. So do they book similarly to you? And we will make recommendations, but you don't need to use it. You can reject it. You can build your own. Again, there's actually no right comp set. We talk to people who say, it's just really important that I'm priced better than everyone else who's on my beach. Other folks who say, I just want to know how the other property manager in town is pricing. Other folks say, I just want to know how all 2 bedrooms. Other folks say, I just want to know how all luxury. Other folks say, I just want to know how all 30-day plus are pricing. Others say, I want to know how hotel rooms. Like it's your strategy. And that's why you can modify sets however you please.
That was actually one of my next questions, Andrew. When I do demos, there are a lot of people with multiple listings and kind of acquiring boutique hotels, motels, transforming them and selling them as short-term rentals. And a
Yeah.
lot of the time I get how, and also in addition, there's a few people that have short-term rental listings like houses that have a competitive market and they compete against hotels. So in that competitive strategy, do you provide intel from hotel rates as well? Like, can you have a hotel as a competitor?
Yeah,
And
not a
not
hotel.
maybe not like Marriott Big Box, but like
Yeah, good question. So right now, we do have hotel data. We actually in the next 4 weeks will add all booking.com data, which is going to be a lot more hotel data.
that's awesome.
What we won't be able to do immediately is like we'd show you the hotel room, the room price,
Yeah.
right? We're not going to aggregate it into like a hotel for you to be able to see like here's what a king, queen, whatever. So like I would say work to be done there still, but yeah, we already do surface hotel data. In some markets it'll be from Expedia and some from Airbnb. I would say our data depth there. I'm excited to expand that. So we'll be adding 11 million listings. We're basically by the end of this month, we'll be analyzing about 21 million listings worldwide for hotels and short-term rentals, which has to be the largest analyzed data set. And I mean, I'm confident. I mean, the infrastructure required for that is kind of insane. We're lucky to have a good team there. But
that's great. And of course, I mean, it's the industry's growing. So it's not always going to be a short-term rental with a beach, facing the lake.
yeah,
People are thinking outside the box. They're booking, the small boutique hotels. So just hearing that you have something in place and that you're working on it speaks volumes of Wheelhouse and where your kind of vision is going with it.
I mean, it comes down to, again, like it's a totally rational strategy just to say, I trust hotels more than these folks. So I'm going to lean in more to understanding their strategy and pricing against it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right strategy? Again, we'll know after the market cleared how you should have charged.
Yeah, it depends on the market, of course.
But,
Yeah.
We do forecasting the future is not a definitive science. It is a best guess based on available data.
Yeah, and especially what we've encountered the past couple of years. I mean, especially looking at rates year over year. Yeah, 2 years ago, we crushed it because of COVID, and a lot of people weren't traveling internationally, and our numbers were phenomenal. And then come this year, we're seeing a slight decrease. So yeah, like you said, you can't predict the future.
Well, and like look what happened in Vermont. Unfortunately, this week, right? Flooding in Vermont. Guess what? Everyone had canceled reservations, and a pricing engine can't predict that.
Yeah.
No pricing engine is taking predicted weather conditions into account yet.
Yeah. Let's see where AI goes, huh?
Yeah, right.
We did have a last minute question. I know we have 4 minutes left, but
Yeah.
we have, what if you manage a resort unit and part of your competition is the hotel that owns the resort, like Vegas?
Okay, let me think about this. So what if you were a resort unit and you're pricing against the hotel that also owns a resort? Is that
That's how I'm reading it. Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can get the question open. 1 second. I'm gonna.
Yep. That's the
okay.
one up top. Yes.
What if your manager, you're in party competition is the hotel that owns the resort, like in Las Vegas? Okay, so this is a question I have never seen before, but what I would do, kind of riffing. I mean, do you have full pricing power? Are you able, like, do you have to stay within some confines of how the hotels are priced? Are you only able to go a certain amount above or below? I would need to know. No,
she has the flexibility, or yeah, they have the flexibility.
So full flexibility, and the question is, how should you price against the hotel? Is that right? I'm liking the yes, no here. Hey, can we start a live answer?
Looks like yes.
Okay, so yeah, cool. I mean, what I would do, so this is where you're running into the edge of what pricing engines from the short-term rental or the hotel space can do today, which is really how do you take pricing strategies on 2 different inventory types and figure out the perfect strategy. I would say you still want some manual control there. So what I would do is I would build out, I mean, on this, if you were to go build out your, I know we're close on time, but I'm going to pull up a property where I have a good competitive set in place. Okay. And I want to go look at, I think this one's going to be fine. And I want to go see how is my competitive set pricing. This one's a little boring. Let's go see it. Let's go see one. Let's go back here for a second. I know we're almost out of time. It's okay. You can move pretty fast.
Okay, we could go a little over. Totally fine. For those of you that can stay, for sure, stay. But for those of you that do need to leave, we will be sending out a recorded demo. So don't hesitate to jump off so we can go ahead.
Cool. I'm going to click into, we'll just go look at this one for a second. Because this is going to have about 13 listings in the comp set. So what I would do is I would go select my competitors. So I can do that from the map. And this will load in a second here. You could build out your entire competitive set. So in this case, you could go add any properties you want. From your settings view now, when you load your comp set, you're going to be able to see that pricing strategy. So your aggregated pricing strategy or each individual, it's funny, it's only showing a few properties here. Oh, I got to change it to my default set. So you'd actually see all your competitive properties on this chart, and then you could build your strategy against that. Little bit of a weak demo there. I apologize. I promise you, you can do it, but good question.
It's a great opportunity to book a demo with Wheelhouse and learn a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think I needed to switch to this set here. So we'll make that happen. Cool.
Yeah, I mean,
thanks all.
Yeah, that was awesome. We really did learn. We took a lot of great takeaways from the webinar. Again, Andrew, thank you for taking the time to speak with us and sharing your vast knowledge of the industry and really how you can use your performance metrics to make your business work harder and smarter and more effectively.
I hope it helps.
Yeah, of course. And as I mentioned earlier, again, for those of you that are listening and just, for lack of a better word, overwhelmed with the wealth of information that you've received, we'll send out an email after the webinar, a link to the recording, a landing page, our contact information. I really do hope that you all learned something new today to help build your business, scale and grow, and just generate more revenue. But thanks again for taking the time today. Andrew, Kelly, Mitch on the back end, and then obviously everyone that attended. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And should you be interested, Kelly's sending out an email. Book a demo with Hostfully. If you want a demo with Wheelhouse, you let us know. We'll put you in touch with their phenomenal team. So thanks again. Appreciate it. And we'll see you all in a couple. I'll see you in a couple of months, Andrew, at the conference.
Can't wait. Thanks all. Appreciate your time. Good questions.
Thanks so much, guys.